Hit me with that lights, camera, action. Bob catching eyes like an Aston. Smooth as the Bachelor. Giving y'all the news with the freshness. Live from the couch we address.
Hello everyone, I'm Bruce Claxton and welcome to another episode of The Vibe. We're putting together some very special content for you in this episode. We'll be playing a new game, we'll be having amazing conversation with a Temple professor and a performance, and it's gonna be a great time, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, it's Bruce, and tonight I will be hosting a fun game of some music trivia. This game is designed to test your knowledge as well as our contestants on a little bit of hip hop and R&B music culture. Before we get started, let's introduce our contestants. With me, I have Alea, and I have Jerome. Alea and Jerome, would you mind introducing yourselves?
Of course. Hi, my name's Alea. I'm a business major, and I'm a junior.
My name is Jerome, and I'm a political science major, and I'm a sophomore.
Amazing. It's a pleasure to have you all with us tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Before we get started, let's go over a few rules. I'm going to ask each of you a question, and your initial guess is going to be worth 1 point. Answer correctly, and you earn a point. Answer incorrectly, you don't gain any points.
Okay.
That said, if both of you answer incorrectly, the other person can steal to gain double points. How does that sound?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you both get the question wrong, we are gonna offer a redemption round, and I'm gonna give you a list of answers to choose from.
All right, that works.
That sound good?
Cool.
Coolio. Alrighty, let's get into it. You all ready already?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So Alea, this first question is gonna be for you, Queen. Who is the 03 Bonnie and Clyde?
Oh, goodness. I do not know.
That's okay. Jerome?
So I get a chance to steal.
For double the points.
The 03 Bonnie and Clyde, these are artists.
Famous song, 03 Bonnie and Clyde.
It's ringing a bell, but like, you know when something's on the tip of your tongue, but it's really not coming out?
I got you.
That's just, yeah. I think we're gonna do a redemption or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Redemption?
Redemption.
Alrighty. Alea, I'm gonna give it to you. So the answers are Nelly and Kelly Rowland, Faith Evans and P. Diddy, Beyonce and Jay-Z, or Mary J. Blige and Dr. Dre. Who you got?
Okay, I'm going to have to go with the first option.
Nelly and Kelly Rowland?
Yes.
So sorry, my friend.
Oh.
So sorry. Jerome, you think you got it?
Can you read those for me again, please?
Yeah. So we have Nelly and Kelly Rowland, Faith Evans and P. Diddy, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige and Dr. Dre.
You know, I'm just gonna go with Beyonce and Jay-Z.
You're correct, man.
I knew that, but I had the suspense.
Okay.
You feel me?
Alrighty. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to your next question.
Okay.
Which artist released the 1996 album All Eyes on Me?
All Eyes on Me. Who that is? Is that Biggie Smalls?
No.
No, what?
I'm so sorry.
Wait, that's a song. That's not an album. You said album?
Yeah, I said album.
Okay, go ahead. Do you think?
Oh, goodness. I sincerely hope my mom is not watching this because she would disown me.
I'm crying.
All Eyes on Me? Do we get a hint?
If you're offering...
No, we ain't doing no hints.
Okay. Redemption.
Redemption?
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the options.
I think
So we have 50 Cent, Tupac, Busta Rhymes, Outkast.
All Eyes on Me. Okay.
1996.
1996. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the first option?
50 Cent?
Yes. Oh, goodness.
You got it?
This for 2 points, right?
Yep.
All right, bet.
It's redemption.
Oh,
So you
goodness.
said, repeat them for me one more time.
50 Cent,
That's the
Tupac,
one she got wrong. You don't got it. Yeah.
Busta Rhymes, and Outkast.
Okay. I'm feeling Busta, but I'm also feeling Tupac.
So to you, King.
Up to you, King. We're gonna go with Tupac, just because like I feel like it's Tupac.
Correct answer?
Oh, wow.
It is Tupac. It is
Four.
Tupac. That's
That's
4
four.
points.
Goodness
bet.
gracious.
Got you, just a
I
little bit.
know,
girl.
I need to
I'm not
listen
gonna
to some
hold
more
you.
music.
Dang. Alrighty. So who are we back at? I think we're back.
I think we're back at me.
We're back at you?
Yeah,
For the
yeah.
initial question?
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
you. Nelly and Kelly Rowland did a song on Nelly's album, Nellyville. Can you name the track? The track that they're both on. It's a party hit.
Yeah. Wait. A party hit?
Not a party
Why are you
hit.
giving hints though? Because now it's throwing me
I'm
off.
not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Wait. Is it like, okay.
You got
And I had with my boo.
Yeah.
All I think about is you.
You got the name of the
song? East Side, you know, what's it called? All I think about is you. You know when like you know a song by the lyric you know.
For sure.
So I feel like if I'm giving you the whole song, I know the song.
I'm gonna need a name.
All right.
I'm gonna need a name.
Crazy over you. Bro, I really don't know the name of it. Can I get half a point for that even?
If Alea doesn't get it wrong, we may
She's
go to the
smiling like
judging
she
round.
knows what it is. Wait, okay. You?
Alea, you wanna give it a try?
I don't know the song name.
You don't know the name of the song?
I do not.
Did you know
the
the
name
Did
of
you
the
know what song that he was?
Yes.
You knew?
Yeah.
You knew?
I did.
All right, that's fair.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
Alrighty, so now I'm gonna give it to Alea. I'm gonna read you off some names. Are you ready?
Yes.
Possible answers are Get It, Dilemma, Knock You Down, Finally Cannot Hide It.
Okay. I'm going to go with Dilemma.
You got it.
It is
you
the
got
one.
it. You got it.
It is the
you got
one.
it. You got it.
First point.
It is.
You got it.
Yeah.
But you got it. You had it. You had it.
Well, I had it. I think that was unfair, but we're gonna let the viewers.
For sure. Alrighty. So this question is gonna go to you now, Alea.
Okay.
You ready? I think this is kind of a hard question, but you
Oh
got it.
goodness. Okay.
RZA, Ghostface Killah, and Method Man have all been members of which hip hop group?
Wow. Okay. Hip hop groups. Goodness gracious. I don't know.
You got it, Queen. Jerome, you got it?
You know, because I only know a few hip hop groups. I'm gonna say just like Wu-Tang, but like, don't yell at me if I'm wrong.
You got it right.
Hey,
You got it right. No, you got it.
I
You
should
got
have
it.
made my guess. I should have made my
Sorry,
guess.
Queen. Sorry.
I know, it's terrible.
Alrighty. Jerome, this next question's for you. Dwayne Michael Carter is better known to his fans as
Dwayne Michael Carter. Ooh, so that's his full name. Okay.
Storybox Audio.
what's his artist name?
Yeah. You look like you know it. That's why you keep looking at me, huh? I'm gonna give it to her, just because I'm here for you. I support you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
yeah, go ahead.
appreciate
Take it.
that.
Take
Black
it.
love.
Take it.
Is this Lil Wayne?
It sure is.
Oh
it
my
sure
God.
is.
Yeah.
For sure.
I didn't grow up
Black
listening to secular music.
I know.
Oh,
That's
okay.
wild. That's wild.
I get it. I get
No,
it.
not Lil Wayne. Anyways, okay. So who are we back at? I think we're back at
Storybox
Alea
Audio.
for a regular
Yeah,
question.
because she's still, yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
Nas and Lauryn Hill recorded a song together on Nas's album It Was Written. Can you name that track?
Nas and Lauryn Hill. Let me think. Okay.
Storybox Audio.
I don't think I can name it. Lauryn Hill, I love you, girl, though. Oof.
I got you. You think you got it?
No, I don't know, but I want to just claim we're not from Philly, so we're okay here.
Ooh,
Okay. Right, right.
Because Lauren's from Philly, so like we have to know.
Yeah, exactly,
Cool.
exactly.
So I don't know that, but I'm cool for redemption. If you're cool for redemption.
Yeah,
Let's
of
go for
course.
redemption real quick.
All right, bet.
Alrighty. This is going to be our last question.
Okay.
So the possible answers are Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, Nobody, If I Ruled the World, What's the 411? Those are your options.
Oh, if I ruled the world, yeah. I know that's right. I know that's right.
Okay.
So who won?
We're going to tally up the score.
Oh, okay,
So now
go
that
ahead.
we finished up with our last question, we're going to tally up the scores real quick. Alrighty. After tallying up the scores, Jerome, it looks like you won, my friend. Thank you
man.
so much.
It's been a pleasure
No,
being on this
truly.
show.
Truly.
Yeah, and pleasure competing against you.
Sure.
The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you both so much for playing with us, and thank you all for joining us at home. How did you do? Stay with us as we move forward with more of The Vibe. Communication can come in many different forms, from language to text to art and to music. Hip hop has the ability to send those inspiring messages to the hardest of beats. It is important to have a deep dive into hip hop as a source of communication. Today, I'm here with Professor Osei Aline. Not only is he a professional in the topic, but he also makes his own music on the side. Professor, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Absolute pleasure to be here.
For sure. So if you don't mind, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, your story?
Yeah, so long story short, I've been a Canadian hip hop artist, sort of emanating out of Canada, born in Toronto, grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, lived in Canada for many years, performed and toured as a spoken word artist, slam poet artist, and hip hop artist for many years, based out of Montreal, Canada, Toronto, but then came down to Philadelphia, sort of following the roots in a way, the band that is, and sort of the neo soul movement, the sort of the conscious element of hip hop, and we used to come out here, cross the border and come down here, tour in New York and in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia felt like home. Hey, as fate would have it, I ended up being a student here in the MA program in communications here, and this is what brought me to Philadelphia. So as a hip hop artist, once signed to a major, so signed to Universal Records Canada from 2002 to 2004, and myriads of tours, whether Canada side, this side of the border, in the Caribbean, and West Africa as well, where I also currently do my research work as a professor.
For sure, for sure. So how did you get into being professor here at Temple?
How did I get into being here? Well, it starts as being a student here. So I'll give you a little bit of the narrative. I'm sitting in a community center working with kids, using hip hop as a tool to help young men, realize their potential in Montreal. And I turn on this video, this YouTube video that has the old school hip hop artist KRS-One launching his Temple of Hip Hop, this concept that he had at Temple University. And at the time I was like, Temple University, where's Temple University? And I looked it up, Philadelphia. So I was like, wow, the synchronicity is really happening there. So maybe I should, in kind of thinking about shifting from just being the kind of the starving artist. It's not easy making it out there as a hip hop artist, ups and downs, and thinking about getting back to school. I said, well, maybe I should apply to, if KRS-One is delivering his Temple of Hip Hop at a place called Temple University, that's a sign. So I applied here, and they accepted me, and I drove down across the border with a car packed with everything in it, and did 2 years in the MA program here. My MA thesis was the autobiography or the autoethnography of the self as a musician, where I recorded an album right here in the studios, in the basement studios here, and kind of explored how I was using sampling in it as a way to think about my own cultural heritage, et cetera, et cetera. And so I had a lot of fun here for 2 years. Worked with, was part of the Philadelphia hip hop movement as well, part of the Temple University hip hop movement, shot documentaries with students down here, performed in all the little nooks and crannies around North Philly and West Philly, of course, and had a lot of fun doing it. How did I become a professor? So when I wrapped up the 2 years of my MA, I stayed on. I had pitched a course here to the department called Hip Hop Media and Cultural Communication, which they loved, and started teaching it. So just after I finished my master's, I started teaching a course called Hip Hop Media and Cultural Communication, which I have to say I have taught up until as late as 2 semesters ago right here. So that course has spanned 12 years here. Stayed on as an adjunct for 2 years, published, and then started applying again, and then got into Penn. So I was over at the University of Pennsylvania for 5 years, where my research work was based on the reggae movement, the Jamaican reggae movement in Ghana. So to think about circulations of blackness and the ways in which popular culture and identity flows across the Black Atlantic, the African diaspora. And so for those 6 years that I was at Penn, I spent about 3 years living in Ghana and performing as an artist out there while I did my own anthropological research on the Rastafari movement in Ghana. Got the PhD, got the degree, went off to University of the Arts. So I was at University of the Arts here in Philadelphia for 3 years as well, where all the students were just absolutely artists in every passionate sense of the word. And all the while I was adjuncting here, then they said they wanted me and they pulled me in over here. So now I am, when I say full professor, I am a tenure track professor here in MSP. So this is how I have become a professor. That's my story. So it is about loving music, performing music, engaging music, but then finding a little bit later in my own artistic career a way to combine it with academia. and to use academia as a way to further my love for music by studying music academically while I continue to perform it. And look once, look twice, wake up one morning, you look in the mirror, you're the professor. And so that's where I am now.
So with that, how would you say music can impact or transform the way people perceive a message?
Yeah, absolutely, in every way, in many ways, given that there's that wonderful saying that music is a universal language. Music actually cuts to the core, I think, communicatively a lot more than straight ahead language does. You think about the human species evolutionarily, just as the species was sort of gaining the power to behave symbolically and to sort of gain language. Before we truly uttered words or ideas or used symbols through speech, the idea of rhythm was always there, right? This idea that the human beings could recognize in the patterns of, in nature, patterns of sound, patterns of light. And so that is a fundamental part of who we are as a species. And so when one thinks about how to communicate messages most clearly, or perhaps most emotionally, if you will, to really get to the root of an idea, music is probably the very best way to transmit it. I mean, it is often said that language and rhetoric is steeped in deception in many ways, and in many ways music sort of cuts beyond that, right? Because of its ability to sort of to impact us viscerally, to impact us bodily, to impact us at the molecular level. There's probably no better way to transmit a message or get a conversation going, or to really get an idea across, or to inspire a group of people, or to motivate a group of people than through music. And so music is fundamental to who we are as a human race, and absolutely central to everything that we do. Music is communication. There would be no, I would go as far as to say that qualitatively our communication as a species would be lost in a way without music as some sort of route through which to think, route through which to feel. Music is just about everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so with your experience, how has that really come through in the hip hop world? Like, what have you learned in that area?
Yeah, well, I mean, hip hop is, by the way, 50th year anniversary
For
of
sure.
hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. And so, am I gonna go ahead and date myself here? My age and hip hop are exactly in line. So literally 1973 to 2023 really spans my own life. So I actually feel myself to be a child of, a progeny, an offspring of hip hop in many ways. Hip hop was everything to me. When I first, as a little guy coming up, one of the first things I used to do when I was in, elementary school was scribble poetry. And music was really, hip hop was, let me not say music broadly, let me say hip hop in particular. Emerging in the sort of late 70s and the early 80s was this new sort of rugged, untested form that really allowed people who otherwise weren't trained musicians, which I was to some degree. I have some training, I have significant training as a musician. But it allowed people who otherwise were not trained to be able to experiment. And so hip hop was really this channel through which I would argue a rite of passage, really. Like, I mean, coming of age as a young man, coming of age as a young boy, coming of age as a young adult, hip hop was one of the things that our generation wrestled with, right? No matter who you were, at some point in time, you tried to write a rhyme at some point, or you tried to imagine yourself as a hip hop dancer, or as a DJ, or as an MC, because it was the order of the day, and the culture back then. We can always talk about what's going on now, but back then the culture held so much promise. And I'm speaking as somebody who was experiencing it from Trinidad and Tobago at one point, where there are other significant musical forms, from Canada as well. And so very much a global citizen, but really feeling the impact of this new form that allowed us to really articulate our ideas in ways that were just, for us, hadn't existed before. So hip hop was a channel. Hip hop was a doorway. Hip hop it gave us access. It gave us voice. I wanted to come right through that door. And so, very early on in life, I sort of, wrestling with my parents all about it, decided I wanted to, stake my claim and try to assert myself as an emerging adult as a recording artist. That was quite the moment for me. Hip hop was a big part of it.
For sure. So as a child of hip hop, you'd say,
Yeah.
how have you feel that it's changed over the 50 years that it's been around?
It's,
for you, for in general.
I mean, there's always that debate, and here we are 50 years hence, and it's a matter of looking back, a matter of sort of a retrospective. Where are we? How do we understand the culture? I would say certainly it was interesting to be around before it became a billion-dollar industry, right? Before it became a multi-million-dollar industry, when folks were just trying to scratch to bring pieces together, or really to figure out the aesthetics of the thing. And when it was just about the currency of cool, in the sense it was just about showing your skill, showing your ability, and being able to throw that part of your personality, spread that part of your share that part of your personality with crowds and with audiences. This is not to say that at any given point, even in the very early 80s, there weren't folks still trying to sell 1 million records and still doing that. But certainly in the early period, there was a sort of a distinctly different kind of feeling about the kind of promise that it held, right? And then, of course, by the time we got into the 90s, we started really producing, these, super groups and, groups that really, came to dominate sort of the mainstream space in American and global culture, really. And then, of course, it has its pros and its cons, and it's something that I always wrestle with my students in the hip hop media and cultural communication course. What did we gain and what did we lose in the rapid expansion of the turning of what was essentially a proto-culture into an industry? A lot to be gained, money to be made, brands to be launched. What did we lose? I think a kind of an innocence, a kind of a being in touch with the things that were really important that we don't see as much of. And this is not to say that there aren't artists and groups and folks that are doing excellent work today, because I for one, am never part of a generation that's always looking back and saying, oh, remember the days we used to. No, I'm always trying to stay on the cusp. And so there are artists today that I think are still carrying the flame. But you got to look far and wide for that, more so than in the past, right? Because, of course, you get that money in there, and it becomes a very different kind of it motivates people in various different kinds of ways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask one last question.
Sure.
How do you feel hip hop and rap storytelling kind of differs from other music genres?
That's a good one. So how does hip hop and rap storytelling differ? It's potentially a lot more didactic, meaning, okay, so you take a normal song, a normal sort of ballad, and you can fit a stanza of maybe a total of 24 to 48 lines in it, or maybe, a paragraph or two of ideas. Because hip hop is really poetic in the sense, and you can write lines upon lines and rhymes and rhyming couplets. I mean, you can carry an idea. You can do a full dissertation within the amount of, within 24 bars, or you multiply 24 bars or 16 bars times 3 to make, your classic hip hop song. And you could really dissertate on a topic in ways that you simply can't do in other forms. Now, of course, I also study dancehall music, and I also think about, other sorts of globally diasporic versions of what is essentially a kind of a hip hop culture in a way. And there are other forms in which it can be done, but broadly speaking, its attention to lyricism, right, especially in the early period, its interest in really having a vanguard of artists who were expressly steeped in wordplay, simile, and metaphor, and onomatopoeia, and just about every sort of literary device, but applied to music and applied to a beat and developed with a signature flow of a kind. There's really nothing like that form. I always say, and I'd argue, that hip hop as a form is a thing that sort of was was fated to be born at some point. Some point near the millennium or near the end of the 20th century, the combination of being able to use the kind of recording technology that was becoming available, but with the idea of the MC, the master of ceremonies that had existed, from time immemorial, the combination of those two things, and then the ability of emerging digital culture to let anybody do it DIY, sort of do it yourself, actually opened the door for a certain kind of expression that would be unique and that would mark itself globally, literally. You could think of myriad cultures. There's probably no modern, contemporary, national culture anywhere on the planet that doesn't have some version of a hip-hop or hip-hop-esque scene in it. To this day, in every language, you name a language on the planet right now, and folks have experimented with writing rhymes to rhythm in a distinctly hip-hop style in it. And so it was an idea that was meant to be born at some point, and I'm glad to have been a part of it. And so to be able to get some piece of it myself and enjoy it, absolutely. As a storytelling form, it is bar none. Think of some of the greats. Bar none. I don't think Shakespeare could hold a candle to it, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Professor, thank you so much. You are very knowledgeable. We appreciate having you on the show. Now it's time for the song you've all been waiting for, so give it up for Professor Osei Aline.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Now welcome to this class, kids. Open up your syllabus. We gon' get into it now. This ain't nothing frivolous. Pushing on the boulder with a shoulder like we Sisyphus. Native to the punk, to funk, we indigenous. Always thought about it, man. Ain't it so ridiculous? How they try to act like we ain't really nothing serious. The truth is the proof. Everything we do is genius. Started this with nothing, now we earning in the billions. Some say it's the DNA, some say it's the melanin, some say it's the inner city condition we dwellin' in. But no matter what the circumstances, we stay on point. Beat is reminiscent of a neo-native tongue joint. Not sex, drugs, and money if that isn't in your discourse. You can be sure ain't nobody betting on your racehorse. Checking for your record or investing in your project. So if you're making music, then you better know your object. Do it right, do it tight, practicing it day and night. On the corner, on the mic, like a Hebrew Israelite. Kicking street philosophy about Illuminati. And I feel like I am having another out-of-body experience. Premonition, you could call it deja vu. You could call me Nostradamus, the things I would say to you. Speculating on the future like a science fiction. Technologic, hyper-modern, Afrofuturism like, where do we come from? Where the hell we going to? How come I could text you but I really ain't talking to you? How come all the shorties be addicted to their smartphones? Supposed to be connected, now we strangers in our own zones. How come all the shorties like the posture like Pacino? Tell me Tina Turner, don't we need another hero? An idol with the highest title, a numero uno. I'm not any messiah, I'm just trying to let you know. And understand we got the gift of speech and it's a blessing. So we should heed the lesson we preach. Come on up. He don't know love like they don't know love like they don't know like we. Hey, music is a universal language. If music be the food of love, to play on, play on. Now welcome to this class, kids. Open up your syllabus. Welcome to this class, kids. Open up your syllabus. Native to the funk, we indigenous. Welcome to this class, kids. Open up your syllabus. Native to the punk, we indigenous. Welcome to this class, kids. Open up your syllabus. Native to the funk, we indigenous. If music be the food of love, play on. If music be the food of love, play on. To the
What an episode. Thank you, Professor Osei, for sharing your talent with us and being so knowledgeable. And a big thank you for y'all at home. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at TheVibe@TUTV for updates and more content. We hope to see you next time, and until then, bye-bye.